For Rivals.com, I'm National Recruiting Analyst and Rankings Director Adam Friedman, here with big-time defensive tackle Maxwell Roy out of St. Joe's Prep in Philadelphia. Maxwell is ranked number 195 in the Rivals 250, number 4 in Pennsylvania, and the number 10 defensive tackle in the entire nation. Maxwell, congratulations. You just announced your top 6 contenders: Ohio State, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Michigan, Oregon, and Duke made the cut. So let's start with why you decided now is really the right time for you to make this cut.
Well, I feel like now that decision time for me is starting to get closer, I want to make it very clear the schools that I'm interested in, schools that I want to be pursuing, and trying to find the best decision for me and my family.
Okay, sounds good. Well, let's begin. I mean, 5 of these 6 schools are in the Big Ten. Let's start with Ohio State. This is a school that we know you've been pretty high on from early on in the recruiting process. But what is the latest between you and the Buckeyes at this point?
Well, I'll say I'm in contact with the D-line coach, Coach Johnson. Trying to find time to when I can get up there to get to see spring practice.
Mm-hmm. And what is that relationship like between you and Coach Johnson? And what do you think of their style on the defensive line?
It's very similar to style we use for my team. So, whenever I'm talking to Coach Johnson, it's super easy to just talk scheme with him. And, I'm a huge scheme guy. So anytime I get to have a conversation with him, it's always a great time.
Sounds good. Okay. And Wisconsin, another Big Ten school. What do you see as the most appealing things about the Badgers?
Wisconsin, it's the coaching staff. From Coach Fickle, the head coach, to just like the people around the building, that when I got to visit up there, it was just a great atmosphere. Madison's a beautiful place. The whole experience of when I was up there was a great time. So, honestly, I had what's called to want to get back out there as soon as possible.
Okay, sounds good. Rutgers is the school closest to home, and you've been on campus there. I mean, I've lost count, I guess, of how many times you've been up there. It's a few at least, though. So when you think about the Scarlet Knights and the progress that program has made over the last few years, what really comes to mind there?
I go back to their coaching staff. The coaching staff's great people, and so honestly, they develop guys really well over there. So it doesn't shock me how far they progress as a program.
Mm-hmm. When you talk to those coaches over there, first off, who is it that you're closest with there? And I guess what is their main message to you?
Coach Shaw's handled most of my recruiting, and his biggest thing is every time I'm going up there, they treat me like family. They treat me great. So, that's something that really sticks to me because I'm a huge guy in relationships, and they definitely make sure to make me feel at home every time I'm up there.
Sounds good. Okay. Michigan also made your top 6, and they have pretty much a whole new staff on the defensive side of the ball there. They're hiring coaches almost daily right now for that side of the ball. But what are your thoughts on the way that program is headed now that they're coming off a national championship?
I think they're going in the right direction. They were national champs for a reason. I think they're still going to be a great team. And every hire that I've seen them done, I've liked. And the same person recruited me, Coach Newsom. So he kept me posted on most of their hires and everything that's been happening. So Michigan's just a great place that I've been really interested in.
Mm-hmm. What is that relationship like between you and Coach Newsom? He's a Central New Jersey guy. Actually, originally I think from Virginia, but he played high school ball in Central New Jersey, and was a player at Michigan, and obviously transitioned to a coach after his playing career was over. So when you talk to him, what are some of the things that he highlights in those conversations?
Coach Newsom makes sure to always keep straight with me. If I ask a question, I know I'm gonna get the truth and a straight answer. And that's why I love when I get to talk to him. If I asked him about where the staff is going, back when I asked him about where the staff is going, he gave me a straight answer from where Coach Harborough was going to where other parts of the defensive staff. And that's why I really love whenever I get to have a conversation with him. He always keeps straight with me.
Sounds good. All right. One of the newest Big Ten teams, Oregon, all the way out on the West Coast there. When you talk to those coaches and you look at that program, what are some of the things that I guess you find most attractive about them?
Definitely their ability to produce linemen. That's something they've always been great at. I believe that the coaching staff is great at developing linemen. So I think from conversations I've had with their coaches, definitely all people I've liked. Great relationships I've been able to build with them, like the time they've been recruiting me.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been out to the West Coast and even up to Oregon?
Nah, but hopefully soon I can be.
Okay, sounds good. All right, the lone ACC program in your top 6, Duke, makes this cut, and I don't know how many people keep up with the movement of former big-time high school coaches, but former St. Joe's Prep head coach Gabe Infante moved from one of the off-field assistants at Penn State to one of the on-field assistants at Duke with new head coach Manny Diaz over there. So when you look at Duke, is that really the driving force behind your interest in the Blue Devils?
I mean, well, he obviously started the relationship that I have now with Duke. He's a great coach, great person. So, like, anytime I get to talk to him, it's a great conversation, from even more than football, just us talking about prep stories of our school. So, yeah, I could definitely say he's led the relationship that I have with Duke so far.
Okay. Have you ever been on campus there? And what is that relationship like with you and Coach Diaz?
Well, Coach Diaz obviously was recruiting me back when he was at Penn State. So I've been in talks with him for a little bit. It's still a great relationship. He's a great coach and runs a great defense. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds good. And have you been to campus there before?
Not yet, but hopefully I could be up there pretty soon.
Okay, cool. Well, that leads me into my next major question for you: is the upcoming visit schedule that you have. What do you have planned once this dead period ends?
Well, so I'm gonna be, hopefully, if my wrestling season goes the way I want it to be, I should be done the second week of March, and from there, I'm hoping each weekend to take a visit to these schools, and as almost like the final interview, seeing like how I feel from just the energy on campus to watching how these teams practice.
Mm-hmm. And have you figured out which ones you're going to visit first, second, third, or is it just totally dependent on your wrestling schedule?
It's dependent on my wrestling schedule, but I have an idea of what schools on certain dates.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing set in stone yet.
Oh, okay. So we're still kind of working out that schedule, it sounds.
Yeah.
Okay. For those who aren't familiar, run through your impressive wrestling accolades. It's you and I were talking about it just a minute ago, and it's any coach, any defensive line coach is going to be really excited to hear about how great a wrestler you are, because wrestlers make fantastic defensive linemen.
Most recently I hit 100 wins. I'm a 2-time league champion. I'm a district champion. I'm the first ever wrestler in my school's history to win both league and districts as a freshman. I'm on pace to beat the school record by a pretty large amount right now, and aiming to be the first wrestler in league history to have 100 pins.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. And one last question for you here before I let you go, Max, is about your decision timeline. When do you hope to have your recruitment wrapped up?
Definitely before June. That's what I'm looking at. Definitely before that time.
Okay. So it sounds like maybe the only official visit that you end up taking is to the school that you end up committing to. Is that right? Am I reading that correctly?
That could definitely be what happens.
Okay.
If it comes down to the point where I'm very close in between two schools, I could definitely end up taking 2 official visits, but the goal should only be to take 1.
All right. So no later than June, we'll say, right? For your decision, it sounds?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. Is there a school, maybe 2 or 3, that you feel like, has put themselves in really good position at this point beyond just making your top 6?
I can't, that's really hard to say. Each school has a great recruiting staff, and I really couldn't break it down even that far. It was hard making a top 6 by itself.
When you have a long offer sheet like you do, I'm sure this recruiting process can get really, really difficult to navigate. Well, thank you, Max, so much for joining me. I'm National Recruiting Analyst and Rankings Director Adam Friedman. Please remember to subscribe to Rivals.com YouTube channel and follow all of the Rivals.com social media accounts. And of course, you can find all of our content on Rivals.com. Thanks again, Max.
Oh, thank you.